is where we are at. Jitendra Shriram is with us, Senior Fund Manager at Baroda BNP Paribas Mutual Fund. Jitendra, good to have you with us here. You know, Monday night or when we wake up on next Tuesday and see the headlines, it'll be either of two or three or four things. Either Donald Trump will go big on day one with massive tariffs. Yeah. That's the worst case. I mean, on day one. More gradual stuff like we saw in 2017, I think maybe a little more palatable. But what is your sense, Jitendra? Because it could be big in that sense, one way or the other.
Sure. I think so. His assuming office on 20th, I think I would not expect an immediate big bang. But I think the next 30 odd days will promise to be fairly interesting because, the kind of announcements, the direction of what the US does is going to be very, very interesting. So my take is one part is that, you are obviously going to see certain amount of tariffs and, market expectation may be very narrow, targeted. But the point is, trade rerouting is a very real risk. You've seen what happened in something like solar panels and stuff, where when one country was banned, it got rerouted through other countries and stuff like that. It might be a little bit more broad-based, is my sense, to make sure that, that entire premise of MAGA, that make America great again, plays out.
No, so you're saying it'll be gradual, like perhaps...
I think it will be more gradual, but I think it will be a little bit more broad-based is what I'm saying, that it may not be very specific. It might be more directed, but what one may need to consider is the after effects of that first announcement, how people react to it, whether people use it to probably insulate themselves by engineering a currency depreciation, or they use certain other means to, downtone that risks, etc. We'll need to watch out that after effects after that.
I was saying this earlier. Markets broadly in November going into the election result underestimated Trump winning, right? But in terms of estimating what he will do, I'm not sure whether they are underestimating it very much. To that point about gradual tariffs, right? I think we have a clue in terms of how markets may behave, because there was that Washington Post article which essentially said that the team is considering small monthly increase in tariffs, overall tariff rates. The dollar sold off very quickly on those headlines. So if it is gradual, we actually may. We have that as an example fairly recently about what markets may do. So let's hope it is that and he doesn't go big on day one. But markets here specifically, Jitendra, any quick thoughts?
So broadly, from what I can see, I think there is generally nervousness near term, especially on the global macro funds with relation to, the dollar strength, with relation to the fact that monetary easing per se seems to be getting a little bit more distant. And especially if tariffs is the way to go for the US, the point is it is going to be inflationary. So to an extent, that also pushes back all the, the easing expectations somewhat. So I would say that those will be the two major things to watch out for, that what is the implications on inflation of all that they do. And the other part, I think, is that one should be fairly, one thing is reasonably certain. Tighter fisc, easier monetary may play out in the longer term. So the near term will be one about tariffs, but longer term, even to ensure American, competitiveness in manufacturing, they will try and engineer a little bit of weakness in the currency. So from a structural perspective, I would think a tighter fisc, weaker monetary might be the way to go.
Hi, Jitendra. Good afternoon and good to see you, Ben. Jitendra, I wanted to ask you about these Axis Bank's numbers. That's been the big problem pocket today, because suddenly the street has got even more nervous on banking names. We had a couple of days of a pullback and that's got sold into. And even stocks like Kotak Mahindra that come out of that set of numbers, it was looking strong all through this week. And suddenly today it's weak because of maybe some kind of read-through, some kind of rub-off. Your view?
Sure. So I think on banking, two things are happening. One trade, which probably you referred to, which was showing the strength, I think, is that the tighter liquidity conditions led to some kind of gravitation away from the NBFC segment into the banks, because banks generally have a better deposit franchise compared to the NBFC segment. So that was one trade that was playing out a week. 10 days before all these events happen. The second, I think, which is happening is that I think the growth, people are getting a little bit concerned because of the continuing elevated LD ratios for the banking system. So, RBI has expressed this concern that they do want to see some tone down in these LD ratios. And my take is that if they don't come off, then the other casualty as a collateral damage could be the growth aspect. You may not see too much of NII growth then coming through for the banking system. I think a lot of that reaction which is happening now is probably an aftershock of that.
Okay. All right. Just hold your view, Jitendra. We'll come back to you. Actually, want to discuss autos with you and what your stance is over there. And why not? Because we have, the largest ever, event that we have, the annual date that the auto sector has with New Delhi. That's actually become the Bharat Global Mobility Expo, or the Bharat Mobility Global Expo as it's being called now. It has kicked off. We have actually Parikshit joining in. He just got us snippets of the conversation with the Maruti Suzuki management. Parikshit, so lots of excitement. What's new and what are you looking out for over the next, I think, two days, right? It's a 2-day event?
It's a 2-day event, definitely. Right now, I am at the Hero MotoCorp Pavilion, where the company is actually not one, but 4 production-ready vehicles which go on sale in February. Now, these are product upgrades. Let me start with the Zoom 125. This is the new scooter from Hero MotoCorp. There you have the Zoom 160. We'll go very quickly, one by one, because I want to show you as much as possible. Auto Expo is just about great big bikes, luxury cars, and beautiful concept vehicles. Here you've got the Extreme 250, which has been launched. These are completely new vehicles. You've got the X-Pulse 210. Now, these are one of the highest selling premium motorcycles from Hero MotoCorp, and these have received major upgrades. In fact, premiumization is going to be a big push from Hero MotoCorp in 2025. Let's show you more. In fact, the Hero MotoCorp CEO Niranjan Gupta also said that we will see a lot of action on the VIDA space or the electric scooter space as well. Harley Davidson's on display. This is to show that the Hero MotoCorp Harley Davidson commitment is growing. But one vehicle which is very interesting and I want to show you very quickly is a prototype that Hero MotoCorp had showcased some years ago called the Surge. Now this is literally a 2-in-1 vehicle. I'm going to sit in it right now. Okay, all right, I'm not allowed to sit in it, but it's production ready. You can actually detach the scooter from here. If you can see, this is a scooter. You can detach from it and you can use the scooter independently. Otherwise, the scooter remains fixed to the body and you can use it as a passenger vehicle, 3-wheeler. You can use it as a passenger vehicle, cargo as well. This was a prototype until a few years ago. Now it's absolutely ready. Now, see, this is a cargo variant of the EV Surge vehicle that Hero MotoCorp has showcased. We're told that it will go on sale sometime in 2025. The company not allowing us to sit right now. Okay, now I've been told I can sit on this. So here we have it. So I'm sitting in the Hero Surge right now. This is a passenger vehicle. I can literally detach the scooter front and move ahead. So it can be used for e-commerce, it can be used for deliveries, and even if a person wants to use the scooter for his home use, they can do that. How it appeals to a customer, that is something that remains to be seen. But this is definitely one of the interesting concepts that we're seeing at the Bharat Mobility Expo. More than 100 launches over the next 2 days. And let's not forget, the Chinese company BYD, which is the biggest EV seller in the world today, is also making a return to the Auto Expo. They'll make a big splash tomorrow. They've got a electric SUV which is being launched. VinFast, the Vietnam company which is into electric vehicles, they'll be making their India debut tomorrow as well. So lots of action at the Auto Expo.
Okay, all right, Parikshit, thanks very much for that. So, yes, plenty of new launches, premiumization, upgrades, and more. Thank you for getting us the latest. So, let's go back to our expert now. There's Parikshit who's got a busy day and probably a busy tomorrow as well ahead of him. Let's go back to our expert. Jitendra, what's your stance on autos? What do you like here?
No, we like the entire consumer-oriented product slate, which is even the two-wheelers and the passenger cars. For example, across various portfolios, we'd have both the listed passenger car vehicles as well as some of the two-wheeler names that are there. And this is something, if you look at even today, there is some talk of the next wage commission hikes. Typically, they augur well for both these segments as well. So you will have an ammunition coming in from that as well, as the central government employees and various states follow suit on these wage commission awards.
No, absolutely. And more money, maybe, right, in the hands of government servants. We'll take a break here. Thank you very much, Jitendra, for joining us, and good speaking with you as always.